Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Jenna and I talk about property in Singapore, where I share easy to understand breakdown, practical guides, and also my own personal thoughts and opinions on different property projects and topics. And in this episode, we're gonna explore somewhere where many people claim to be the most ulu place in Singapore, and that is Tengah. But at the same time, it's also Singapore's newest smart and sustainable town, which is kind of ironic if you think about it. Anyways, today's episode is gonna be another project analysis where we're gonna talk about Tengah's newest upcoming development. And this is going to be the very first private development in Tengah with a commercial shops on the first level. Now just a quick note, this is a pre-project analysis. At this stage there are details that are still not fully out yet, so certain things may still be subject to changes. And moving forward, whenever I do a project data analysis, I'm going to break things down into 3 key things that buyers should look at. Number 1 is the entry price, number 2, livability, and number 3, exit strategy. So after hearing me blabbing, right, what project am I actually talking about? Well, it's none other than Tengah Garden Residences. And today we're gonna break it down and see whether it makes sense for people who actually are looking into buying in Tengah area. Starting off with the project information, Tengah Garden Residences is developed by not 1, not 2, but 3 well-known developers: Hong Leong Holdings, CSC Land Group, and Guaco Land. 3 big developers came together for this project here in Tengah. It is a 99-year leasehold project with a total of 863 residential units ranging from 1 bedroom to 4 bedrooms. And there will also be commercial shops on the first story. The site area is about 25,458 square meters and the expected TOP is around September 2029. The development is located in the Garden District of Tengah, right next to the upcoming Hong Kah MRT station, which is along the Jurong Region Line. And in case you didn't know, Jurong Region Line is Singapore's 7th MRT line. It connects places like Choa Chu Kang, Jurong West, and Tengah to key hubs such as NTU, Jurong Lake District, and the Jurong Innovation District. From Hong Kah, you are also 4 stops away from Jurong Point at Boon Lay and about 6 stops to the 3 big malls in Jurong East. You have Westgate, GEMS, and IMM. So whether it's shopping, work, or catching a movie, it's going to be super convenient. The line will open in stages from 2028 to 2030, which lines up nicely with Tengah Garden Residences' expected TOP. So by the time you move in, the MRT should be ready. One thing to note though, the JRL MRT are all overground, as shown in the artist's impression over here. So depending on the blocks or stacks, some units might get a bit of train noises. Nothing major, but worth keeping in mind lah. And if you look at the location map right here, another interesting point is that the development is also situated along an upcoming man-made lake. So selected units will actually enjoy waterfront view, which is quite rare feature, especially for a new town like Tengah. Now let's take a look at the school near the development, because I know this is something a lot of families cares about. I mean, I'm a mom myself. I would also want to know where is the nearest primary school or secondary school that I can send my kids to, right? Within about 1 to 2 kilometers from Tengah Garden Residences, there are already quite a few schools in the surrounding estates. For primary schools, you have got Princess Elizabeth Primary, Pioneer Primary, Rulang Primary, Kranji Primary, Jurong Primary, Sichuan Primary, and even ACS Primary School that is gonna be shifting to this area. As for secondary school, to name a few, there's Jurongville Secondary, Hua Yi Secondary, Yu Hua Secondary, and Fu Hua Secondary. Wow, there's a lot of Huas. So plenty of option depending on where your kids are in their schooling journey. And if you take a look at the master plan, right, there are also a few plots marked for future schools. So more educational option will be coming as as Tengah develops. Moving on to the site plan, the development will also have a total of 9 blocks and all of them are 16-story high. Now if you take a look here, you can see that one of the side gate actually connects directly to the MRT station, which is super convenient for residents. There's another side gate over here that will link you to the future medical and healthcare facilities planning in this area. And then the third side gate is located right here beside the entrance and exit to the residential car park. Just next to it is also the commercial car park entrance and exit, as well as the pickup and drop-off point to the commercial shops. And that's pretty much what we have now. At the moment, the developer hasn't released a lot of detailed information yet, so this is pretty much the key things we have gathered so far. I'm also waiting for more updates from developers, so if you are very keen to find out more, especially when like the layout is out or when the indicative price is out, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to update you from there. Alright, let's talk about the first key point that buyers should take note when buying a property, and that's the entry price. Now the land bid price for this development came in at 821 per square feet per plot ratio, submitted by Hong Leong, CSC Land and Guaco Land. Now if you compare that to this year's EC's land bids, the highest one so far is the site at Woodland Drive 17, also located in the OCR area, bid by Sim Lian at 794 PSF PPR. So the difference is only $27 leh, which is actually very narrow between an EC land price and a private residential land price. Now picture this: Tengah Garden Residences, a private condo with shops just downstairs, right next to an MRT station, potentially a waterfront facing unit, I mean if you get those units lah, and located in a town that is still developing and transforming. And the pricing? Very close to a brand new EC. Honestly, in my opinion, this is really a no-brainer lah. Now the reason why I say this right is because historically, the price between an EC and a private condo right is usually much wider. Most of the time EC launch significantly cheaper than private condo. Take for example, if you look at the recent launches in Tampines, Revel and Pinery. Both are located very close to each other. Oh, they are practically just neighbors lah. The land bid for Revel EC was 768 PSF PPR, while Pinery Residences was bought at 1004 PSF PPR. That's a difference of around 236 PSF PPR leh, which is actually quite a big gap, you know, as compared to what you saw earlier. And this is normally what we see between EC land and a private land. Even when they launched, right, Revel EC started from about 1,700 PSF, while Pinery Residences started from about 2,300 PSF. So you're looking at a price difference of roughly 500 PSF. And honestly, this is quite normal, you know. For an EC, they are usually a lot cheaper than private condos. So that is what I meant by historically, the EC is usually a lot cheaper than a private condo. But when we come back to Tengah Garden Residences, the land price difference compared to the EC land is only about 27 PSF PPR. So when you look at it this way, right, am I right to say that Tengah Garden Residences entry point is gonna be very close to a brand new EC, and of course the entry point is gonna be quite safe for a private condo. So for buyers who are thinking about entering into the private property market, right, I believe that this could actually be one of those rare opportunity where you might be able to come in at a much safer entry price compared to what we usually see in the market. Plus, Tengah land price is significantly below many of the upcoming condo launches in 2026, which means this project might be one of the most affordable private launches in 2026. Now, my estimated pricing for Tengah Garden Residences, I predict, this is just my prediction, yeah, I predict the launch price would be around 1,900 to 2,000 PSF, with an average of about 2,200 PSF. Here's how that transaction for the different unit type would be at. For the one bedroom, it's going to start around 980k, two bedroom from around 1.3 mil, 3-bedroom from around 1.6 mil and 4-bedroom from around 2.3 mil. Of course, actual prices will vary depending on the unit size, tax and floor level, but this gives a ballpark figure lah. Considering the MRT connection, potential waterfront units and the town's ongoing transformation, I would say the price is very reasonable for a private condo in a new township. If you're still unsure about pricing, it's okay. Let's put this into perspective. There have been quite a few EC launches in Tengah. There's Copen Grand, Luminant Grand, Altura, Novel Place, and the most recent Auto Place. Looking at Auto Place, the highest PSF transaction has already reached 1,926 and the average PSF is around 1,700. So if Tengah Garden Residences were to launch at 2,000 PSF, right, the price gap between EC and private condo in this area become very narrow. In terms of quantum, Auto Place unit have already been transacted between 1.7 to 2.2 million, meaning even upgraders to EC, right, are already accepting this kind of prices in Tengah. And from a financing perspective, right, there's another important point to note. EC for the loan eligibility is stricter due to the income ceiling and the MSR rules. In simple terms, bank will only loan 30% of your income. Now for private condo, loans use TDSR, which allows bank to lend up to 55% of your income, though it also takes into account other debts that you have lah. This means that financially, right, buyers might actually find Tengah Garden Residences easier to purchase. You can get a higher loan amount without needing a huge cash upfront, which can make a private condo a lot more accessible than a lot might expect than getting a EC. So when it comes to the entry price of Tengah Garden Residences, right, it's a double thumbs up from me lah. It's really a no-brainer because especially when you look at the location, the comparison with the recent ECs and even the financing side of things, everything clicks lah. Now let's talk about the second key point, livability. Honestly, a lot of what I've already mentioned, right, it kind of speaks for itself already. I mean, what more can you really ask for, right? You have got an MRT station right at your doorstep, commercial shops just downstairs. So in terms of daily convenience, it's already pretty solid. Now of course, if you are someone who's really cannot stay in the west or the west side is just a no-go place for you lah, I completely understand. To some people, location is really a deal breaker, which is fair. In this case, this project might not be for you lah. But if you've always been a Westie and you are a die-hard West Side believer, or if you're open to trying out a new environment, then honestly, from a livability standpoint, it's not gonna make you feel very disconnected from the rest of Singapore. And finally, my last key point, the exit strategy. Tengah is still a fairly new township today, and of course for those that already been staying there right now, it might feel a little, if you know, you know lah. But if you think back about places like Punggol or Bidadari in their early years, don't you think that it's kind of the same story, right? People would think that, wow, so far, so ulu, so empty. Fast forward to today, completely different story already lah. Property prices there have already been riding on the full transformation of the area there. Why? Because everything starts to come in. Transportation, amenities, connectivity, the whole area slowly fill up and find its rhythm. Tengah is just at the starting phase of this journey. Now layer onto this, Tengah is planned for 42,000 homes with around 30,000 being BTO HDB flats. And between 2028 to 2032, roughly 20,000 of this unit will be reaching MOP. So what does this mean? It means over time, you're going to see a growing pool of potential buyers entering the market. And from an exit strategy point of view, that's exactly what you want. Now, some of you might not realize, right? The exit strategy is actually very, very important. I realize a lot of people focus a lot on the entry price and whether this place is nice to stay in or not. But when it comes to exit strategy, right, they have no plans for it. Now why I say this, because at the end of the day, right, it's not about can I sell? Of course you can sell, anyone can sell their house, but it's more of like, who is gonna buy from me? who is gonna be my future buyer, and whether my unit, right, is there gonna be people lining up to view my unit, to buy my unit, to snatch my unit. You see the difference? Unless you're planning to pass down to your next generation lah, then maybe the exit strategy is not as important lah. But for most buyers, right, this is definitely something that you should keep in mind. And from the numbers here, there's pretty healthy pipeline of future buyers forming. And on top of that, from a rental standpoint, especially if you're looking at this at an investment angle, there could be a steady pool of tenant who's going to be working in this area. So when you piece everything together, you've got a township that's maturing, a future buyer pool building up, and rental demand in the background. Not saying it's a guarantee win, but at least the fundamental is stacking in your favor when it comes to your exit plan. Unfortunately, the floor plans for Tengah Garden Residences is not yet released by the developer. So if you have watched to the end of this video and after hearing everything that I've shared and this project has caught your interest, you know what to do. The QR code is just here. Feel free to scan the QR code and I will update you from there when there are more details being shared. Now to wrap things up, I'm personally very excited about this project. It's my top pick project for 2026 and I feel that it's definitely worth keeping an eye on, especially the potential growth of this area. Now we have come to the end of this episode, and if you enjoyed what you have been watching, I would really appreciate if you can like and subscribe to my channel so I can continue creating property content like this. Thank you so much for your support and I will see you in the next one. Bye!